leaders had shown the power of collective action.
I read the news today.
It's time for Nicole Sandler's What's News.
It's the Why Can't We Vote for Her edition of What's News. First Lady Michelle Obama was in New Hampshire this week on the stump for Hillary Clinton, where she delivered what many are calling the best speech of the campaign. She was speaking out for women and girls when she said,
"Enough is enough. This has got to stop right now."
Although I usually inject a fair amount of snark in these What's News segments, today I'm going to let Michelle Obama speak for me. It was a week that began in the wake of the Access Hollywood hot mic tape and Sunday night's debate, during which women like me all noticed the hulking Trump hovering right behind Hillary Clinton. I would have swung around and kicked him in the groin, but Michelle Obama had a much more powerful approach.
Tell it like it is.
The fact is that in this election, we have a candidate for president of the United States who over the course of his lifetime, in the course of this campaign, has said things about women that are so shocking, so demeaning. And last week, we saw this candidate actually bragging about sexually assaulting women. I can't believe that I'm saying that a candidate for president of the United States has bragged about sexually assaulting women. I can't stop thinking about this. It has shaken me to my core in a way that I couldn't have predicted. This is not something that we can ignore. It's not something we can just sweep under the rug as just another disturbing footnote in a sad election season. Because this was not just a lewd conversation.
I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
And this wasn't just locker room banter. This was a powerful individual speaking freely and openly about sexually predatory behavior and actually bragging about kissing and groping women, using language so obscene that many of us were worried about our children hearing it when we turn on the TV.
Grab them by the pussy.
And to make matters worse, it now seems very clear that this isn't an isolated incident. It's one of countless examples of how he has treated women his whole life.
A person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
There's a reason so many of us were so moved by Michelle Obama's speech this week. Women will immediately recognize these examples. Men, pay attention.
Hold on to yourself, for this is gonna hurt like hell.
And the truth is, it hurts. It hurts. It's like that sick, sinking feeling you get when you're walking down the street, minding your own business, and some guy yells out vulgar words about your body. Or when you see that guy at work that stands just a little too close, stares a little too long, and makes you feel uncomfortable in your own skin. It's that feeling of terror and violation that too many women have felt when someone has grabbed them or forced himself on them and they've said no, but he didn't listen. Something that we know happens on college campuses and countless other places every single day.
As a woman with a daughter who's a high school senior right now, the thought of sending her off to college is terrifying, knowing that the Republican Party's presidential nominee is out there trying to normalize this behavior, and these abusive words should actually be terrifying to everyone. But we are women. We are strong. In fact, some might say, we're invincible.
I'm a W-O-M-A-N.
All of us are doing what women have always done. We're trying to keep our heads above water, just trying to get through it, trying to pretend like this doesn't really bother us. Too many are treating this as just another day's headline, as if our outrage is overblown or unwarranted, as if this is just politics as usual. Be clear, this is not normal. This is not politics as usual. This is disgraceful. It is intolerable. And it doesn't matter what party you belong to, Democrat, Republican, Independent, no woman deserves to be treated this way. None of us deserves this kind of abuse. And I know it's a campaign, but this isn't about politics. It's about basic human decency. It's about right and wrong. Now is the time for all of us to stand up and say enough is enough. This has got to stop right now.
Oh, and once again I ask, why can't we vote for her? And that's What's News, a special Michelle Obama edition. I'm Nicole Sandler. My show returns this Tuesday afternoon at NicoleSandler.com and on the Progressive Voices Network.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Friday, you bastards.
You know, girls, it's great to live in a democracy today.
Oops.
Where freedom is everywhere. But girls, we often take this freedom for granted.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech.
That.
Freedom of thought.
Right.
And freedom of action.
To flee.
But you know, gals,
what?
Just because a bunch of men signed that Declaration of Independence in 1776 doesn't mean that freedom was for men alone.
Oh, no?
Oh, no, you take Tom Jefferson.
Okay.
Ben Franklin.
You know.
John Hancock.
Adorable.
There's a hell of a guy for you right there. All these men had wives.
Yeah.
They probably had a few broads on the side, too.
Yeah.
These women wanted freedom just as much as their men did. But gals, I wonder, do we? I think it's time that we women thought about it a bit.
Definitely.
Hell, I think it's time we did something about it.
Hell.
So come on, fellow females of the 20th century.
21st.
Be glad that you're an American.
I am.
Proclaim your freedom.
Freedom.
Stand at attention.
Oh, dear.
Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance.
And...
You want to. Only if you want to. Oh, God. Welcome to the rape election. Welcome to this. Oh, my God. This is incredible. You know, yesterday, Michelle Obama literally took down Donald Trump as Donald Trump tries to take down everybody around him. You know, and today he said he was going to have some bombshell evidence, right? That was going to show that these accusations by this woman and the one over there and that one there and the Teen USA's, all four of those, and it's all bullcrap. I'm going to bombshell evidence today. And he gave a speech today in Greensboro, and apparently he's saving it for, his evidence. He'll save it for the same time he releases his tax returns and his secret plan on how to kill ISIS. Oh, my God. And you know what's creepy? When you think about it, Donald Trump is the least, he is, when you think about it in its entirety, he is the least known presidential candidate we have ever had. Think about it. What do you really know about him? Oh, that's right, that he's a rapist. Right, this is what, yeah. The only thing that you're really sure about is that Donald Trump gropes women and accosts them on airplanes, goes into the back of, Teen USA's pageants and Miss USA pageants and ogles women when they're naked. And there's a ton of women who are now coming out saying, when I saw him lie to Anderson Cooper, oh, Anderson, oh, how we owe you. How can I possibly pay you back? I guess if Kathy Griffin won't babysit your house in the Hamptons, consider me a friend. Consider me up for the task. I'll do it. But it's just all these women, when they saw Donald Trump's, when they saw the bus tape, this is what it's being called now, the bus tape, they were sickened by it, but they went, oh my God, that explains so much, because that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. But, you know, they were told things like, some of them told their parents, some of them told their friends, some of them didn't tell anybody. This is a lesson men should learn about women. You will probably never run into a woman in your life who hasn't had something happen to her where she didn't know how to get out of it and didn't tell anybody about how frightened she was, or didn't tell anybody about how, confused she was, or, that she still replays it in her head, even though it happened so many years ago, still replays it in her head with the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Like, why didn't I slap him? Why didn't I run? Why didn't I this? Why didn't I that? And you would think that that's called post-traumatic stress syndrome, but this is post-Trump syndrome. Well, I wish it was post. It's not post yet. It's current Trump syndrome. These women are currently, traumatized by Donald Trump. And then they watch the debate. And when Anderson Cooper asked him, did you ever really do these things? And really pushed him, because Donald Trump was avoiding it. He was on to talking about ISIS, These are absolutely false accusations. And I got a secret plan to, kill ISIS and blah, blah, blah. And then she won't do it. And I will. And then, Anderson just kept saying, well, but did it happen? Did you touch anybody? Did it ever happen? And then he said, no. That's it. They're just a no. And that opened the floodgates to women who said, he's lying. Okay, he's lying. And while it may not have been, what you would consider forcible rape, what has happened here is unwanted groping, assault, sexual assault, women being trapped by him. The People magazine writer, she wrote a whole piece about how this story from the People, Natasha Stoynoff, her story is really upsetting. And you think about the story on the plane, that Jessica leads. How brave is she? She's 74 years old. And of course she's 74 years old. Donald Trump is 70, for God's sake. So yes, they're the same age. And he groped her on an airplane. Now think about this. On an airplane, there is really no place to go. She went to the back of coach. That's what she told Anderson Cooper last night, that she got up and she said, I got to get as far away as I can. And on an airplane, as far away as you can is the back of coach. Natasha Stoynoff, she was there to do the interview about the first anniversary of Donald and Melania. And she said Melania has always been lovely and Melania has always been kind to her. But she went to Mar-a-Lago. She said she'd been covering Trump for People magazine since 2000. And this happened right around the bus tape. This incident was 2005 as well, right? And she said, our photo team was there and they was shooting the Trumps on the lush grounds of Mar-a-Lago, and she interviewed them about how happy their first year of marriage had been. And then they took a break so that a very pregnant Marla, wrong wife. Sorry, I'm getting all the wives mixed up. There's so many. I get my Teen USAs mixed up. I get my Miss Arizonas and my Miss Utahs mixed up too, because there are so many of them. It's like I tried to make a list and I quit at like 10 names. I had Jessica Leeds on the plane, Natasha Stoynoff, People magazine, Vendela, the supermodel who sat next to him at a White House dinner in 1993 and had to ask, it was a dinner that was held, at the White House to honor Vanity Fair. I'm telling you, that is like the most amazing magazine in the history of magazines. But Vendela was there, and Graydon Carter, who invited Vendela and did the seating chart, put Vendela next to Donald Trump thinking she'd get a kick out of it. And it turned out, she said, he is the most vulgar, disgusting man. All he talked about through the whole dinner was breasts and the size of them, how big ones, did this for him and small ones did. And if you were fat, then you had no purpose as a woman. Seriously, that fat people had no purpose. And she said she went to Graydon Carter and she asked him, could I please move? I have to get away from this man. This is the most disgusting. And she was married. She's a Swedish supermodel. And she was married to a Politico in Sweden. And she's used to these state dinners. And she's used to the banter and the conversation that goes on between, heads of state and things like that. She said she had never experienced anything so gross and so disgusting and so vulgar in her entire life. And so she asked to be moved. Then there's Kristen Anderson, who just came out today. Oh my God, New Yorkers, especially New Yorkers around our age. Do you remember the China Club? Do you remember that place, the China Club in New York? I couldn't get in. I wasn't pretty enough. My sister, however. Yeah, they used to say, Randy, your sister is exotic. You're meat and potatoes. Yeah. And the door guard, would stand there, they become the owl. Randy who, right? But my sister's like, come on in. Come on. Who are you? Who? Okay. So I never got into the China. Well, I think I might have gotten in once with my sister who said, oh, God, why are you following me? All right, fine. Like that. But so Kristen Anderson, she was accosted by him in the China Club. She said he actually put his hands under her dress and touched her vagina. She said she'll never forget it. She remembers his eyebrows. This is, and she remembers everything about it because women, we don't forget. We don't talk about it, but we don't forget. And you know why we don't talk about it? We don't talk about it because we always feel it's our fault. We always feel that, nobody cares. We always feel that if you do tell somebody, there are going to be like so many questions that maybe you can't answer. Or, maybe you were sitting there with a glass of champagne. Maybe it was your third glass, but for some reason you have a third glass and suddenly you're supposed to be molested. And that's what you should expect from life. I mean, this was what Michelle Obama's speech was about yesterday, that no one should be treated this way. No one. And what a disgusting situation this is because decent, loving men, kind men who love their wives and daughters are being lumped in with scumbags like Donald Trump. Howard was saying that yesterday. He goes, Randy, I've never been slapped by anybody. I said, I'll slap you around tonight if you want. But honestly, he said, it's never happened to me. He's never even considered like being in a woman's space without being invited. And he did say consent was better for him. He did say that. But we have, and now we have a new one. This just broke on CNN. Here, I'll play this for you. This is really a sad story. This is a former Apprentice contestant. Her name, I just learned it myself because I didn't watch this season apparently. Her name's Summer Zervos, and she is a very articulate. You can see, I'm going to play this for you so, if people have video, you'll be able to see that when she gets into the details, takes about 2-3 minutes in to her story, and she gets to the details where she's super embarrassed about even allowing herself to be put in this position. You'll see her whole face turns like bright red. I can feel her. I can actually feel her.
Mr. Trump, when I was a candidate on The Apprentice in season 5. I had the utmost admiration for Mr. Trump, and even after I was fired, I continued to see him as a possible mentor and potential employer. In 2007, I was going to be in New York for a social obligation. I contacted Mr. Trump's office to see if he was available for lunch. I was informed that he could not have lunch, but that he would like to meet me with him in his office. When I arrived, he kissed me on the lips. I was surprised, but felt that perhaps it was just his form of greeting. We sat and spoke. He was extremely complimentary. He said that he was impressed with how I handled myself on The Apprentice. He said that he had never met anyone with my combination of being smart, attractive, and with the largest set of balls as I had. He said that he would love to have me work for him. Mr. Trump said he would be coming to Los Angeles soon, and he would contact me. I felt as though I was reaching for my brass ring. I was very excited. I felt as though my dream of working for Mr. Trump might come true. As I was about to leave, he again kissed me on the lips. This made me feel nervous and embarrassed. This is not what I wanted or expected. He asked me for my phone number, and I scrawled it down with a marker. I left hurriedly and called a friend who lived in New York because I was upset by the kiss. I also called my parents to let them know what had happened. I spoke at length to my loved ones, and we came to the conclusion that this was undoubtedly some form of greeting, and that I should not think it as anything other than that.
Like a gorilla.
Mr. Trump called early in the morning of the day I returned home. He referred to me as his OC angel. He wanted to know who was with me at that hour. He scolded me about my penmanship because it was difficult for him to read my telephone number as I had written it for him. Even though he had called me, he concluded the call by asking me for my phone number. He then called again days later to let me know that he was coming to Los Angeles. He again called me after he had just landed in Los Angeles. He asked me to meet him that evening at the Beverly Hills Hotel and asked me where I would like to have dinner. When I arrived, his security guard greeted me at the hotel. He walked with me to greet Mr. Trump. I assumed we were going to a restaurant in the hotel. Instead, I was taken to a bungalow. The security guard opened the door, and I went in. I was standing in the entryway. To my left was a bedroom, and I saw Mr. Trump's clothes on the bed. I did not see him, but he greeted me with hello in a sing-song voice. It sounded like, hello.
No, it's like haunting.
I thought the mistake had been made, and Mr. Trump thought he was speaking to someone he was more familiar with. I walked further into the living room, away from the bedroom, and sat down. I waited for about 15 minutes until Mr. Trump emerged. He had his suit on. I stood up, and he came to me and started kissing me open-mouthed as he was pulling me towards him. I walked away and I sat down in a chair. He was on a love seat across from me, and I made an attempt at conversation. He then asked me to sit next to him. I complied. He then grabbed my shoulder and began kissing me again very aggressively and placed his hand on my breast. I pulled back and walked to another part of the room. He then walked up, grabbed my hand, and walked me into the bedroom. I walked out. He then turned me around and said, let's lay down and watch some telly. He put me in an embrace, and I tried to push him away. I pushed his chest to put space between us, and I said, come on, man, get real. He repeated my words back to me, get real, as he began thrusting his genitals. He tried to kiss me again, with my hand still on his chest, and I said, dude, you're tripping right now. Attempting to make it clear, I was not interested. He said, what do you want? And I said, I came to have dinner. He said, okay, we'll have dinner. He paced around the room. He acted like he was a bit angry. He pointed out that someone had delivered a fruit basket. I felt that it was to show me how important he was. As we were waiting for dinner, I sat across the room for him as far away as possible. He started saying that he did not think I had ever known love or had ever been in love. I did not want to discuss my personal life with him. Then just before dinner arrived, he transformed into being all about business and began questioning me as though I was on a job interview. Dinner was delivered to the bungalow. When dinner arrived, he asked me to wait in a small room.
All right. I don't know why they interrupted her story on CNN right there, but they did. And so that's kind of the breaking news that we have from this former apprentice contestant, which is really disgusting. And, you know, you could see her whole face get red. And you know why that is? Because she did go into the bungalow. And now all of a sudden, all these years, she, you know, this is like 2007-ish. She's blaming herself for his behavior. This is what happens. But I got to tell you, you know, when you really do think about it, we know less about Donald Trump than we know about any other person who's ever run for the presidency in the history of the United States. Because the only thing that we know for sure about Donald Trump is that he's a sexual abuser of women. And that's all you know. And that he's a liar. And that he's a racist. And that he's a bigot. And that yesterday he was running around quoting protocols of the elders of Zion, except that he changed the word Jews to Clintons. So, wow. Just wow.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
I am so excited to announce that ITM Trading is back to sponsor our new show. ITM Trading is a precious metals company that was a very loyal sponsor of mine for years and years, and our reunion couldn't have happened at a better time. 2016's been great for me and for gold. Did you know that gold outperformed the Dow this year by over 3 times? Since January, the Dow Jones is up 8% and gold is up over 26%. Some of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the country are diversifying huge sums of money into gold because they know diversification is the key. And maybe it's time for you to get diversified too. It's time to talk to my friends at ITM Trading about gold and how it can help you. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD. They've been in business for over 20 years. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And if you'd like to know how to diversify with gold, call ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1979. That was the day that the National March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights took place in Washington, D.C. Estimates of marchers ranged from as few as 75,000 to as many as 200,000. The year of the march was significant. It marked the 10th anniversary of the police raid at the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York's Greenwich Village. When police raided Stonewall, it sparked a series of protests that helped launch the modern LGBT rights movement. 10 years later, gay and lesbian Americans still faced significant employment and legal discrimination. Many also faced violence. The published program for the event included a tribute to Harvey Milk, the openly gay member of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors who had been assassinated a year earlier. Lyrics to the song Harvey Milk's Body was written to the tune of John Brown's Body. The program also included an article urging march participants to lobby Capitol Hill for justice. A sample letter to Congress was printed as a template. It noted that many lesbian and gay men faced unjust discrimination in employment and called for change. The march organizers issued 5 demands. The second demand was that President Carter issue an order banning discrimination based on sexual orientation in the federal government, the military, and federally contracted private employment. The program included a list of organizations that supported the march. Not many labor unions endorsed, with a few notable exceptions, such as the Actors Equity Association, 3 AFSCME locals, and 1 American Federation of Teachers local. More demonstrations in Washington, D.C. followed. A march held in 1993 drew crowds estimated at 1 million, a powerful gathering for the movement to end LGBT discrimination.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit RandiRhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false.
Okay, here's another woman who came forward. This woman's name is... Oh my God, I can't keep track of all of them. This woman's name is Kristen Anderson. She's the one who was at the China Club in Manhattan when Donald Trump sat next to her. Here's her story. Courtesy of the Washington Post, I should say.
When I heard the tape of the bus where he's describing how he's a star and he can just pretty much do whatever he wants and they let him, and you know, he can grab him by the pussy. And
when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy. You can do anything.
I was just like, wow. That explains it. That explains what happened to me. In the early 90s, I was in New York City, and I was at a club with my friends, and I'm talking to my friend who I'm sitting to and across from, on my left side. I'm very clear on this. This is the vivid part for me. So the person on my right, who unbeknownst to me at that time was Donald Trump, put their hand up my skirt. He did touch my vagina through my underwear. Absolutely. And as I pushed the hand away, and I got up and I turned around and I see these eyebrows, very distinct eyebrows of Donald Trump. And I got up and I moved and I continued to talk with my friends. And they said, oh, that's Donald Trump. I was like, ew, he's gross. He just put his hand up my skirt. That's not okay. And we all sort of brushed it off and moved on.
I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait.
The reason that I'm saying this now and not before, where I didn't think it was consequential to talk about before, is basically the bus tape that is so disgusting, really. And I watched it, and I watched this woman who could have been me, it could have been anyone, walk in and shake his hand.
Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the Donald? He just got off the bus.
like a little hug,
Okay,
darling?
absolutely.
Oh.
Melania said this was okay.
And that was just nauseating because she has no idea what she's walking into and what could possibly happen to her. And then I read the story of Miss Leeds on the plane.
Somehow or another, the armrest in the seat disappeared, and it was a real shock when all of a sudden his hands were all over me.
You know, maybe for me it was just a hand up the skirt for a few seconds. But here she is trapped on a plane.
Yeah.
And literally getting molested. And then the woman at People magazine, you know, being pushed up against the wall and like, wow, that is not okay. I was in a fortuitous position. I could just get up and move. But what if I hadn't been?
Yeah, that's a great point. She's a very smart lady, that this one here. I can't even, I'm sorry, let me say her name correctly. Kristen Anderson, thank you for being brave, and the bravery of Summer Zervos today to come and tell us the story of what happened to her in a bungalow in Beverly Hills at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And you know, maybe I relate to her story so much because I also went on a job interview at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Right? Remember? But there is a place to have breakfast and lunch, and it's, you know, it's there. There's a restaurant. It's the Polo Club. And I was treated with nothing but respect. It's when I got the job working at Premier Radio, and the man that I met with was just, you know, a complete gentleman. And, you know, he made me wait 3 months to find out whether or not I got the job, which was a long wait. Remember that? But I did get the job. But he was, you know, he's still a friend. And I just can't even imagine, like, flying out to L.A. from the East Coast, going all the way out to L.A. with, you know, like you feel like you're reaching for your brass ring, as she describes it. And that's exactly how it feels. You know, like it's your whole dream is within your grasp. It's within your reach. You not only found the right guy who could hire you, but he's interested in hiring you and, you know, sends you a first-class plane ticket and says, come on out and, you know, we'll have breakfast and we'll talk about your career. And, you know, I mean, I'm lucky because the guy's name is Charlie, because Charlie was a complete and utter gentleman. Charlie was, you know, a super nice guy. I'm still friends with him to this day. I have nothing but respect and a fabulous memory of that breakfast and how, you know, how it feels to be so close to your dream and then the waiting and then you get the call and it's like, okay, it's a yes. It's a yes for us. You know, when can you start? I mean, and everything is like, it's like, oh my God, I did it. And the sense of accomplishment and the sense of, you know, I actually pursued my dream. I actually went for it. I actually did it. And I sent the tapes and I kept on pursuing it and I wrote follow-ups and I did everything I needed to do. And finally I went out for the interview and they met me and they liked me and, you know, it's going to happen. This is going to happen. I worked for them for many, many years in a company that should have been extremely difficult for me because as a liberal talk show host, working in the same stable as Rush Limbaugh, as Sean Hannity, as, Glenn Beck at that time, you know, it should have been difficult for me. And you know what? It was, on that score, it wasn't difficult for me because I never had to be in a room with Rush Limbaugh. I never had to be I cannot imagine what these women actually went through, knowing that their dream was sitting right there, that the guy called them and said, yes, I'm interested in your, I thought you handled yourself really well on The Apprentice. I'd like to follow up. And she's thinking, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a job with, Trump. I'm going to get a job with Trump management. I'm going to get a job in the Trump organization. And it turns out to be a grope fest. It turns out to be a guy in his hotel room with his, come lay down and watch the telly. Ew. Oh, it's a horror story, and then today Trump said he was going to come out with this bombshell evidence proving all these women were wrong. All these women were liars. He said liars. Called them liars. And he didn't say, he brought nothing. He brought absolutely nothing. It was just all paranoia and rambling incoherence. It's like watching Alex Jones rub his face in a bowl of Cheetos. That's what Donald Trump is like. It's the most amazing fraud that's ever been perpetrated in the history of any presidential election. I can't even believe, like Michelle can't believe, that we're even discussing presidential politics in the same breath as any of these stories. Now, it's just amazing to me because now that we bring up the crazy conservatives, I have to tell you that Barack Obama was also in Greensboro, North Carolina, I think 2 days ago. And what's been happening at all of these rallies, Hillary Clinton's rallies, Bill Clinton's rallies, which never get covered. I mean, you never see Bill on the TV, ever. You wouldn't even know he's out on the campaign trail, which is, a crying shame. Okay, it's just a crying shame because if anybody understands this economy, how to create jobs, how to balance the Wall Street with Main Street and get growth going in this country, and it's Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton has been such a part of this, a rejection of Trump is just, he may be vile and he may use bad language, but he never touched anybody. Well, that's been proven false, right? I think there's enough women here with, post-traumatic Trump disorder. I can't wait till mine is post. Mine's current. Oh my God. But you have these Republicans that are living in this fantasy world, and decades from now, we're going to be emerging from the forest of this election like Columbia's Marxist rebels, spouting political rhetoric that's like a 50 years out of date. Do you know what I mean? This is like, I can't wait though till we're past it, and this. But these Republicans are clinging on, and just hoping against hope that there's some. I don't know, some moral equivalency in Bill Clinton having affairs, consensual ones, and what Trump does, which is not. As a matter of fact, Rush Limbaugh, he was on the air yesterday. We don't hear very much from him either, because there's no reason to listen to him. But God, this is so upsetting. I just have to get this out. So what's happening at these rallies is that there are protesters, but they're different. They're protesters that are all wearing the same T-shirt that has a picture of Bill Clinton on the T-shirt. And then it says rapist on that Bill Clinton T-shirt. And then below it, it says Infowars.com. And it turns out that crazy psycho Alex Jones, okay, this lunatic who says that President Obama smells like sulfur, and so does Hillary because they're biblically, provably demonic, which is a troxymoron. Okay, that spurred Obama to say, I smell like sulfur. Get that. Wow. But what's happening at these rallies, the Bill Clinton rallies, the Hillary Clinton rallies, and the Barack Obama rallies, are these protesters with these T-shirts are showing up, and it turns out Alex Jones is paying his listeners. He's literally, this used to be a joke in radio. What, do you have to pay your listeners? Rush Limbaugh makes no salary now. You know that. He's doing this because he doesn't know what else to do with his day. And apparently Alex Jones is paying his listeners. It's $5,000. This is what I found out. It's $5,000 if they will wear the T-shirt and get themselves on camera at a rally, and calling Bill Clinton a rapist. If they can get on camera for more than 5 seconds, he'll give them $5,000. Now, if they can only get on camera for less than that and don't manage to call Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, or Bill Clinton a rapist, then they only get $1,000. So this is Barack Obama in Greensboro when he starts noticing that there's an epidemic of this.
Because it doesn't really matter if some, young man just runs across here and gets his 5 seconds of fame. What matters is who's voting. But I'll get back to that later. I had another thing I want to talk about. Let me just say this. There is I do not believe that every Republican elected official thinks the way Donald Trump does. I think many of them do not. Hold on a second. Let me make my point now. It's good having a hype man or woman, but you got to wait till I make my point before you hype it. So, the overwhelming majority of Republicans, they love their families, they love this country, they're good and decent people doing all kinds of good things. But what is true is that what is true is that over the last 8, 10, depending on however long you want to say, if you've been only about obstruction, if in order to score political points, you tell your voter base crazy stuff, like, I wasn't born here. Or that, I'm a Muslim. Or that, well, it's just a long list. and you just repeat it over and over again. All right. And so that your only agenda is negative. And you just make up facts. So if 99% of scientists say, the planet's getting warmer and this is something you should worry about, and then you bring a snowball into the Senate chambers and say it was snowing outside, so you must be wrong, using that as evidence to dispute scientists, that over time what happens is that you produce a nominee who's all about obstruction and insults and makes up his own facts.
Okay, you get the point. I should have started it a little earlier because that protest started a little earlier with the rapist thing. And what Obama said to him was, he goes, I got to say, I've been noticing a lot of this going on. He goes, get your own damn rally. Go get your own rally, okay? If you believe in your candidate so much, then go to his rally. Because I believe in my candidate, and that's why I'm at her rally. But if you want to, and it just keeps happening over and over again. It's a very, and so they finally figured out what was going on, because the reporters on the ground noticed that on these rapist T-shirts with Bill Clinton's picture on it, it said Infowars.com below. Nanette in Las Vegas. Hi, happy Friday.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I just wanted to tell you I was at a rally yesterday here in Las Vegas that Joe Biden was here, and he was rallying for Hillary Clinton and for Catherine Cortez Masto, who is running for Senate against Joe Heck.
Right.
And
Dr. Joe Heck.
Dr. Joe, right. So anyway, right when the vice president was speaking, and he got such a warm reception because he's just loved, and we just love this guy. But anyway, in the middle of his speech, this guy in the middle of the crowd takes off the shirt he had on, and it shows he starts screaming, Bill Clinton's a rapist. In the middle of the crowd. He screamed it like 3-4 times. And then the whole crowd all around started screaming, when they go low, we go high.
Yay!
Over and over and over. And security kind of escorted him out the back after that. But it was happening.
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw the Bill Clinton rally where they did it right in front of Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton laughed. I mean, he just laughed so hard. He said, feel sorry for him. His candidate is imploding. They need to do what they need to do to get their anger out or whatever. And he was laughing, and then he said, hey, listen, let me just tell you something. When your opponent opens your mouth and pours poison down your throat, don't drink it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was just so glad that the crowd reacted immediately with that chant.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing. But
yeah, it's a very good thing. I mean, the same thing happened at a couple of Obama rallies where he was heckled again. I have only audio clips of, but the same thing, and he's like, get your own damn rally. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. And the whole crowd was with him saying, Hillary, to drown out you're a rapist. Really? So that's what I'm calling this the rape election. I won't. It's totally the rape election.
It is, and I mean, and I'm really kind of disgusted that this is the whole topic of our 2016 election is who's the worst womanizer.
Yes,
our candidate or your candidate. And our candidate is not even the one. Not the one. It's not even. Bill Clinton is not on the ticket.
That's true. And what's really interesting is all these Republicans who have such, they're appalled, I tell you, about, Bill Clinton's, abuse, alleged abuse of women. Hillary was the one that was cheated on.
Correct.
And they're just beating the crap out of her. So,
like any other woman, any woman is going to be angry.
Well, I mean, it's just abuse the victim. That's what they do. They just... They point at you and then they abuse you and you're the victim.
To speak to Randi, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
Randi Rhodes, Air Force.
Hi, we're back and everything is possible again. Isn't it beautiful? Well, if you want to keep it this way, buy a stinking podcast. Oh, yes, you have to buy a stinking podcast. And you get that at RandiRhodes.com, where we're open all day, all night long. RandiRhodes.com. Get your stinking podcast.
I'm David Pakman, host of The David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. Check out this clip from my show. Let me talk briefly about Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson declared that Donald Trump was the clear winner of Sunday night's presidential debate, and he seems to kind of like Trump's Pussygate leaked audio, saying, hey, this is macho stuff. This is something that we like. Let's take a look at video from Pat Robertson's 700 Club.
Well, interesting, ladies and gentlemen, what happened, but nevertheless, Trump was the winner. Basically, the pundits were writing him off. I mean, let's face it, a guy does something 11 years ago. There's a conversation in Hollywood where he's trying to look like he's macho. And 11 years after that, they surface it from the Washington Post or whatever, bring it out within 30 days or so of the election, and this is supposed to be the death blow, and everybody writes him off. Okay, he's dead. Now you better get out of the way and let Mike Pence run the campaign. And the Donald says no, but as I say, he's like the Phoenix. They think he's dead. He's come back, and he came back strong. So he won that debate. The next one, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, he speaks to adoring thousands wherever he goes. And
thousands won't win you the presidential election, sadly. I don't know if Pat Robertson knows the population of this country. So it's insane that the self-proclaimed evangelical, moral Christian leader, Pat Robertson, says that Trump is a candidate that should even be remotely appealing to Christians. But what's interesting, Rachel, is that not all Christians agree with this. Billy Graham's organization recently put out an op-ed saying there's nothing Christian at all about Donald Trump's campaign. So Pat Robertson, even among the Christian voices, seems to be an outlier that likes Trump.
He is, but he's also a hypocrite because because in 98, when the Monica Lewinsky scandal happened with Bill Clinton, he said that Bill Clinton should be impeached.
Right.
And then he went on to say he had turned the Oval Office into some sort of sexual playpen for a poster child of the 1960s, which quite frankly doesn't even really make that much sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense to anybody.
Right. And this is also the same man who originally said he understands if someone wants to divorce their spouse if they have Alzheimer's, although he later retracted it.
Yeah, he retracted it because it was just bad PR for saying it. I don't know that his view actually changed on that. It's shocking to me that Pat Robertson is standing behind Trump, not because Pat Robertson tends to support Republicans, but more because Pat Robertson tends to just go Christian values above all else. And this is just so clearly the furthest thing from what Pat Robertson claims to support that I'm actually somewhat genuinely surprised, Pat.
Really, he should be one of the people that are jumping off the Trump train, I guess, and supporting Mike Pence, because Mike Pence is seen much more as a religious values kind of guy. He would benefit from that, and Pence, of course, would have a much better chance at this point of winning the election than Trump would.
I would have expected Pat to say Pence is the moral Christian good guy, and that's really who it is, which is insane, by the way,
right.
But insane in a slightly different way.
And because Pence was also quoted saying that he likes to spend some time on his knees every day.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah. You've been listening to part of the David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. For full audio and video podcasts, interviews, and more, go to davidpakman.com and check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The David Pakman Show.
The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
Democracy in a big, diverse country doesn't work if you constantly demonize each other. And I mean that literally, by the way. I was reading the other day, there's a guy on the radio who apparently Trump's on his show frequently. He said, me and Hillary are demons. Said we smell like sulfur. Ain't that something?
I love him.
I love him too. I'm gonna miss him. I am gonna miss him. Ain't that something? I smell like sulfur. Ain't that something? But and then the hecklers all started.
Don't be interrupting everybody. Come on. Come on, sir. Come on. Everybody's good. Come on, everybody. All right, I think we're okay now. I noticed this has been happening everywhere. And I keep on telling folks, you got to organize your own rallies. If you're confident about the other guy, just go to his rallies. I feel confident about my candidate. That's why I'm at this rally.
Yeah. Okay, this has to be one of the sickest clips of the day. All right, my favorite clip of the day is going to be the one that you've heard before. But this one, we haven't played any Fat Boy. We haven't played any Limp Balls. We haven't played any Rush clips because no one cares about what he has to say anymore. He's so irrelevant. And, he just, with the whole Sandra Fluke thing and, that same company that I was telling you about that held my hopes and dreams for, growing the show and national syndication. That was the same place that Rush lost all the advertisers across all those shows because he said that Sandra Fluke was a prostitute. for simply testifying in front of Congress as a law student that women have the right to have contraception covered in our health plans. This was back during the ACA debates. And they weren't going to cover, the Republicans don't want to cover women's contraception, but it does cover Viagra. And so Sandra Fluke decided to testify in front of Congress that was ridiculous. And Rush decided to say Sandra Fluke was a prostitute. Why should we have to pay for her sex? Right. And all the advertisers, because advertisers like the fact that women buy things, crazy little thing. Women do buy things. And so they pulled all their ads. And it affected me as much as anybody else because the way that it's sold is they sell across all the shows. So if one, advertiser pulls out, you lose them too. But when all the advertisers pull out, you lose all of them. But he had money from the Heritage Foundation. He had money from, what is it?
Credo Institute.
No, it wasn't Credo. It was Heritage Foundation. It was there was a whole bunch of right-wing lunatics that put money in that show, and all the political advertising got aired on that. And we didn't get any political advertising, so it was a tough time. But this is what Idiot Boy had to say about all of this that's going on. Okay, this is I mean, I don't say the P word. I just can't make myself do it. Some people can. Whatever. I hate that word. But even though that word's been bandied about like so much and it's just become very mainstream, you hear it on CNN, you hear it on MSNBC, you hear it like everywhere. It's on the radio now. I mean, people are getting away with playing that word. I'm afraid that word's going to get normalized. But even as disgusting as that is, this was the most disgusting thing to me.
Standards, moral standards. You stand up for moral standards, you're going to be mocked and laughed out of the room. They're going to call you a prude. They're going to call you a Victorian. They're going to call you an old fuddy-duddy, an old fogey, and they're going to claim you want to deny people having a good time. So, a culture which rejects moral standards. In other words, anything goes. You know what the magic word, the only thing that matters in American sexual mores today is one thing. You can do anything. The left will promote and understand and tolerate anything as long as there is one element. Do you know what it is?
Yes, I do.
Consent.
Exactly.
If there is consent on both or all three or all four, however many are involved in the sex act, it's perfectly fine, whatever it is. But if the left ever senses and smells that there's no consent in part of the equation, then here come the rape police. But consent is the magic key to the left.
Duh. That is so obscene. He's saying that, I don't even know what he's saying, except that first he's saying, we're conservatives and we have moral values, and then he realizes he can't say that because of, his candidate. And so then he downshifts into blaming liberals for what his candidate is doing. That, of course, it's because we've relaxed morals in this country or something like that. Because it's all okay to be who you are, to love whoever you want, to get in a pile if that's what you're, if that's what you want to do tonight, as long as there's consent. And he said if there is no consent, then the rape police are called. Well, Rush, all police are the rape police. Rape is illegal. And the key to rape being rape is lack of consent on the part of the person being raped, you schmuck.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Your phone can be a source for progressive power. Yes, it can. Credo Mobile is a progressive phone company. So what does that mean? It means every month they take a share of their revenue, more than $150,000, and donate it to incredible progressive organizations like Friends of the Earth, Project Vote, Social Security Works, the Brennan Center for Justice. Even better, Credo lets people vote every month to determine how they divide this pool of funding. Not only does Credo fund progressive causes, but you get to use the phone of your choice with great service. Right now, Credo has a special deal for Randi Rhodes Show listeners. Go to credo.com/Randy and get $150 off any smartphone of your choice, plus 50% off unlimited talk and text for 1 year. Just go to credo.com/Randy, 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 or call 1-888-533-8225 and tell them Randy from the Randi Rhodes Show sent you. The phone company that represents your values, credo.com/Randy.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a diversified media enterprises production. I'm Doug Cunningham. AFL-CIO Vice President Tafari Gebre joined members of a couple of dozen unions and other supporters picketing Trump's Washington, D.C. hotel Thursday. They demanded that Donald Trump stop violating labor law. Trump is refusing to negotiate with Trump Hotel Las Vegas workers who voted to join the culinary workers affiliated with Unite Here.
We had great picket with a lot of community partners, and I would say about a couple of dozen unions with their shirts showing up and trying to hold Donald Trump accountable to his workers. After years of struggle, the workers who work in the background, not in the front, the cooks, the people who make the beds, the people who do the laundry, they, despite all the intimidation and despite the Trump organization spending $500,000 to keep them down, courageously voted to join Unite Here and the culinary workers in Las Vegas. And someone who says that he's the greatest negotiator ever is refusing or afraid of 500 hotel workers in Las Vegas to sit down and negotiate a contract.
Gebre says that Trump will be in Las Vegas for the final presidential debate, and that would be a perfect chance for him to obey labor law and bargain with the Las Vegas workers. Unite Here is calling for a national boycott of all things Trump until Trump Hotel Las Vegas stops violating labor law. United Steelworkers President Leo Gerard wants blue-collar workers to see who Donald Trump really is and to not be fooled by his con man run for president. Gerard says workers in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania should know that Trump exploits workers where he does business, and he gets steel and aluminum used in his building.
Push the government into investigating and doing an analysis of what he's doing. He's actually standing up in places like Pennsylvania and Ohio and saying that he's going to bring the steel industry back. My plea to blue-collar workers is don't let this guy fool you. You look at it from the point of view of American manufacturing jobs. His whole clothing line, none of it was made in America. If you look at his furnishing lines for his hotels and his suites, none of it was made in America when it could have been made in America. Then you look at his steel and aluminum that he needed for his buildings, brought in from China. This is a hypocrite.
Brought to you by the California Teachers Association. 325,000 educators who know quality public schools make a better California for all of us. Information on how California teachers are shaping a stronger future for our kids is online at cta.org.
Workers Independent News puts workers and their unions on the national radio news airwaves every day. To help keep labor's voice on the air, go to laborradio.org.
You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit laborradio.org.
On the eve of the most important election of our time, bring your friends to an unprecedented event. The Sexy Liberal Tour goes coast to coast.
Give it up for yourselves, sexy liberals. God bless you.
Monday, November 7th, just one night.
We've got to protect our phony baloney job, gentlemen.
The Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour comes to your town. It's a special Get Out the Vote rally with a new original show in theaters nationwide on the eve of the election.
What would you like to see a new government bring in? More wine.
You've told your friends about it. Now show them what Sexy Liberal is all about. Stephanie Miller, John Fugelsang, and comedy duo Frangela are eager to make you laugh and get out the vote. The Sexy Liberal Show and Fathom Events make it possible for the #1 political comedy tour to come to your city with this one-of-a-kind event at select cinemas nationwide. Monday, Election Eve, November 7th. For more information and tickets, visit fathomevents.com.
There's still a world left when this is all over. I'd like to buy you a beer.
Okay.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Nobody can dispute the fact that we need. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Thank you. You gotta feel sorry for them. They had a bad day yesterday, so they're trying to make it up. Give him a hand. Give him a hand.
He's laughing at the rapist t-shirt.
Now, let me just say, this is what is the matter with politics.
Yes, it is.
When other people pour poison down your throat, don't drink it. Give back good.
Beautiful. It's amazing. They're showing up everywhere. And for a little while, no one could figure out why all these people in the same T-shirt that said Infowars.com were showing up everywhere. And then it turns out that Alex Jones is paying his audience to heckle Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. I guess they left Michelle Obama alone. Oh, look, there's Donald Jr., Donald Jr. standing on the stage with his father. You know, Donald Jr., the apple did not fall far from the tree, I must say. Donald Jr. Was on, do you people know Opie and Anthony? The radio show. Exactly. It's a morning show, another pair of shock jocks, right? Opie and Anthony. This is not, I'm not critiquing your show. I'm just saying that is the brand of radio you choose to do. And Donald Trump Jr. was on the Opie and Anthony, and they were talking about how they did not want women around them at the golf club. That women should get their own damn club. And that if they were going to come into their club, that they better be prepared to be harassed, because that's what men do.
And say fuck them. We don't give a fuck about them. We're gonna start our own traditions and our own clubs just for women.
Because it's it's a lot easier to do it the other way, and break balls, and they'll eventually win, because that's the way. That's where we're going. We're just becoming a different society, and for better or worse.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't bother me if I see a woman on the course. It's just weird, though, that they desperately want to be.
Yeah, but there's something still cool. I mean, for me, the old school, like, if you have a guy's place, you have a guy's place.
Right.
I don't know. I have a hard time letting go of that. Maybe I'm not going to have a choice, but like,
the problem with
I'm kind of a guy's
letting go of the ability to harass women.
They complain and they fuck it up. Like I don't like being around just men. I love when women are around, but they complain. Yeah, these harassment, and that's why we hate them around, because they stop us from doing what we want to do, and
Not my cup of tea.
It's harassment. Yeah, unless we say, come on, bad boy. If the word that you hear is no, back off, you're dreaming, get away from me, don't touch me, then if you move forward with whatever it is that's in your silly little head, that's harassment. And then if you touch us, that's sexual assault, period. And then if you throw us up against a wall and stick your genitals anywhere near us, that's attempted rape. You understand this, right? So when I listen to fat boys say, you know what all the liberals care about is consent, you're damn right. I don't care what happens in your freaking bedroom. It would scar me for life if I ever saw what happened in his bedroom. Scar me for life. And trust me, there's been a lot of things that could have scarred me for life, but nothing would be as traumatic as seeing him naked or Donald Trump naked or any of those Republican, psychos naked. But yes, consent is the magic element that they don't understand is required in an exchange of bodily fluids. What is it that's so difficult to understand about consent? And you know what? They do understand it. They just don't want to have to wait for it. They want to do what they want to do. They want to treat women as objects. They want to treat everybody as an other. As an other. Only white men can actually decide when and where and with who they're going to have sex with, and when and where and with who they're going to work with, and when and where and with who they're going to socialize with at a golf course. I mean, it's such a world that is so long gone, thank God. But now you're understanding that these guys, these old bastards, they don't get it. They don't get that decency has moved ahead, not backwards, as they predicted it would if liberals got their way. Well, we did get our way, and we did say, in the privacy of your own bedroom, in the privacy of your own sex life, in the privacy of your own marriage, no one should care what goes on as long as it's consensual. They hate that. They want it the way it used to be, where they didn't have to wait for consent and anything could be done to anybody, especially the most powerless people in society, who they view as the others. It's a very sick, twisted mindset they have. And that's why I found what he said, that fat bastard. He's so obscene to me. He's just, now I understand why people pull their ads. I really do. I get it. He's so freaking clueless and obscene about the role that people who happen to be different than him play in a consumer-driven economy. I mean, he just doesn't get that you have to be courteous and you have to show decency. And if you can't comprehend what consent is, then you can't claim you're decent. You can't claim any moral high ground. You can't claim any morality whatsoever except a really sick, twisted one. All right. Jennifer in Sacramento.
Oh, Randy, I am so glad you're back on the radio. And I just want to say, buy a stinking podcast.
Oh, thank you
God
for that.
Thanks, people.
Yes.
Oh, my God. I supported you on the Kickstarter, and I'm paying you every month. And I'm actually...
Oh.
And for Christmas, you're going to be one of my top gifts. So, just as a Christmas idea, people.
That's so cool. Because of everything that you're doing and others like you are doing, that's why we're able to play the video now. We got this Wirecast Pro thing. It was expensive. And then a video presenter. And now I can actually, because people were saying, when you play those audio clips, why don't you play the video? Well, I have to do everything myself. So I'm doing as much video now as I can. But it was because we didn't have the right equipment, and now we do. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. So the reason why I'm calling is, Trump is really freaking out right now because he doesn't get it.
No.
And like Rush Limbaugh, he doesn't get it. But what he doesn't get is, for me, I've only known Trump as this playboy asshole that's gotten his way with women all his life. And yes, he has a lot of money, and he's ruined the money and all of it. But that's his foundation. That's what he's been about. And then he decided to run for president. And then he says the thing about rapists from Mexico, POWs or losers.
Yeah.
Making fun of people with disabilities, making Kelly at the debate, and Gold Star families, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing has touched him. It's Teflon.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we get this bus. And the bus comes out, and we hear what he likes to do with women, and then we get to see him stalking a woman, actually doing what he says, and we are so disgusted. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I've always shown this. This is what I'm all about. This is my foundation, except his foundation is now quicksand, because before it was just the I'm bragging that I am so sexually potent, and now what we're seeing is he is actually a sexual pervert. And he showed it at the debate. He showed it with him pacing back and forth.
Let me just correct you in this way. I have nothing against, pervy people, He's not a sexual pervert. He's a sexual predator.
Predator.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the difference. And these guys from their generation, from their Republican mindset, from their view that women are, just objects and that we shouldn't even be allowed to vote or whatever it is that they still cling to. They don't think consent is necessary in their world. And that makes them predators. That makes them dangerous. That makes them disgraceful, intolerable, insufferable. It makes them violent. It makes them not worthy of being anything to any of us, except, his brand should be trashed forever. I mean, I can't imagine any woman paying good money to stay at any of his hotels or right. I just can't. I mean, he's just trashed his brand, do you know? And the GOP, if I was going to use the P word, which I won't, it would stand for grab our P words. Because that's what it's become, right? I mean,
right.
It's just it's gone. That party is gone. And you know what? It's not like watching an implosion anymore. Now it's like watching a dissection. It's just too gross to even look at anymore.
Right.
Well,
the other thing that I felt like while watching that debate, though, was he became menacing. He became like this animal stalking Hillary.
And then he lied about it. And then
yes, but then he goes behind the chair, grabs it, and starts thrusting with his pelvis like he's raping Hillary. And that's where I think everyone went, "Oh my God!" Ah.
Well, I want to play something. Okay. Well, listen, Jennifer, your kindness is it's stunning to me. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Totally appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. I mean, we can't do it without each other, so thank you so much.
Okay, well, I'm gonna over this weekend, I'm just gonna listen to all your podcasts over again.
It's a binge weekend. Good for you. Thank you. Woo! All right, so let me show you what the difference is between these two people. Okay, I mean, this was after the debate. The first interview that Hillary did, and you may have missed it, was on Ellen because we work, and I'm not home when Ellen is on, but I found it, and it's an amazing thing. Ellen asked Hillary, because she saw it as weird too, and she asked Hillary, how was it? How was it? And here's what Hillary said in her own words.
And because of the revelation of the public video and everything that came out on Access Hollywood, he was really all wrought up, and you could just sense how much anger he had. And so he was really trying to dominate and then literally stalk me around the stage. And I would just feel this presence behind me. And I thought, whoa, this is really weird.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to stay focused, trying to keep my composure, trying to interact with the moderators, but really for me, more with the people there, and deal with the string of accusations that he was putting forth. And it's frustrating. I mean, look, I feel such a sense of obligation to people that, I work at trying to make sure what I'm saying is appropriate, is accurate, conveying that to people. Everybody makes mistakes, don't get me wrong. I obviously have made more than my share. But to run against somebody and debate somebody who is consistently just spewing forth falsehoods, and when you catch him, when you say, no, wait a minute, you said this, you actually were on the record on this. No, I wasn't. And just hopes, I guess, that people will forget it. So you could spend all of your time, and I had to think hard about this before the first debate. I literally could have spent all my time saying, no, you told interviewer X and you said on Y. But I thought, no, I'm going to tell people to go to my website, HillaryClinton.com, look at the evidence we have. And I'm going to keep trying to talk about what this election should be about, which is people's lives and our country and what we're going to do to help each other. Yeah.
Okay, so that Hillary was on that stage, and she felt this weird presence. It was like he was, so angry and stalking her and trying to take over the stage all the time and behind her and just looming and lurking. And, we all saw it. We all saw it, right? Everybody saw it. I don't care if you agree with me or disagree with me. You know what your eyes showed you. You know what you saw, right? Whether you thought that was an appropriate way for him to, conduct himself or not. It doesn't matter. It's just what we saw. It's what we viewed. It's what happened. And then so she tells the story, and here's Donald Trump's version.
So here's my question to you. By cheering, who did better in the debate? Are you ready? You're going to cheer. You're going to let me know. So I did very well. Did you see Hillary today? Did everybody see the debate? Yeah, you lost. Got killed. Oh, I look forward. Next week we have another one. I look forward. Hey, did you see? Wait. Did you see where she said?
He's like a teenager.
That I entered her space. So here I am. I'm standing. Right? You saw that? This is a liar. So I'm standing at my podium. I've got my chair. And Crooked Hillary walks across the stage right in front of me. I'm standing. I didn't move, right? Right? So I'm standing, and she walks across the stage. She's standing right in front of me. I didn't care. I didn't care. And she's answering a question, and then she walks right back. Okay, that's fine. I didn't make a big deal. Next day I said, I read the paper. She entered my space. She entered my space, right? But did you see what she said? That I entered her space. I didn't move. And I was very careful because...
Okay. I can't take it anymore. Now, we all saw the same thing. And here's Hillary saying, it was weird. He was like lurking everywhere. And I felt this weird presence behind me. And I was just, blah, blah, blah. I was trying to talk to the people in the audience. So, yes, she crossed the stage at one point to talk to somebody on that side of the room who had asked her a question. But Donald Trump insists that he wasn't lurking. He wasn't it's all projection. Everything that he says that he despises about her, whether it's she invaded my space or without the media, she'd be nothing. She doesn't need the media. In fact, you are on the TV constantly because it's like watching a car wreck and no one can take their freaking eye. It's not that we're watching you because we're in love with you, Donald. We're watching it because we just can't believe somebody this psychotic, somebody this dishonest, somebody who's such a P.T. Barnum, a demagogue, a hater, a bigot, can actually be this close to the presidency. It's like watching a horrible car wreck. It's like morbid curiosity. You can't take your eyes off of this guy because it's so insane. It's like watching the weirdest, most horrendous thing you've ever watched before in your life. Because you are watching the weirdest, most horrendous thing you've ever seen in your life.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
With the Dow rallying back to recent highs, everything looks good on the surface. But the underlying data is saying something very different. Experts are saying another recession may be on the horizon, and if Trump wins the election, who knows how bad things will get. Are you comfortable with Trump holding the keys to America's economic future? Well, hell no. He scares the crap out of me. So there's something that we all need to do. Protect yourselves. My friends at ITM Trading teach people how to use gold and silver as wealth protection in uncertain economic times. They make owning gold and silver a very simple process, and they even ship it right to your door absolutely free. So call my friends at ITM Trading at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask them to send you a free gold kit. It outlines how to protect yourself with gold and silver. Learn what you need to. Get started today. ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD, 1-888-OWN-GOLD, and protect yourself today. Tell them Randy sent you.
This is Tara Devlin, a.k.a. Pterodactyl from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. And this is my 2-minute tirade. Here's one of my favorite quotes from John Kenneth Galbraith. It goes, "The modern conservative is engaged in one of man's oldest exercises in moral philosophy. That is, the search for the superior moral justification for selfishness." I love that quote. but it's even worse than that. Conservatives are also grasping for the superior moral justification for all sorts of human failings. It goes kind of like this. They're not misogynists trying to control women. They're pro-life. They're not violating humanity's social compact. They're teaching people the dignity of work. They're not racists who lack the fundamental maturity required to function in the type of free democratic society they pretend to love. They're keeping us safe. And how do we know they're completely full of it? I mean, couldn't they just be sincerely misguided? Well, no, because they continue to peddle their policies even when none of the promised outcomes comes to fruition. If they were sincere, they'd adjust. You see, Republicans' so-called pro-life policies actually increase the numbers of abortion. And shredding the social compact doesn't magically create jobs. It increases wealth disparity and puts us at the mercy of a powerful elite. And vilifying minority groups keeps us weak and divided, and further away from the danger of egalitarian democracy breaking out. But here's the good news. The fact that they even have to masquerade their agenda at all shows us that somewhere inside they understand how repulsive the kiss-up, kick-down, divided world they're peddling is to the rest of us. And thankfully, humans continue to progress faster than conservatives can concoct their schemes to hold us back. This is Tara Devlin from RepublicanDirtyTricks.com. Go there and find links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram communities, and keep listening for 2-minute tirades and more on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn. We stick together, we win.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
It's a choice between. Is somebody hollering again?
Oh man, they're an epidemic.
You know what? Here's the deal. Try to get your own rally.
I mean, this just keeps going on and on and on. It is an amazing thing. And you know what's crazy is the people that are doing it are following this guy.
There are dozens of videos and photos of Obama having flies land on him indoors at all times of year, and he'll be next to 100 people and no one has flies on him.
Amazing,
Hillary,
right?
reportedly. I mean, I was told people around her that they think she's demon-possessed, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and say it, okay? They said they're scared. That's why when I see her, when kids are by her, I actually get scared myself for the child. I mean, that big rubber face and that. I mean, this woman is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you.
Oh, my God.
She is a demon.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah, there's more.
Just disgusting with flies all over her. Big, fat, stinking imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. You can't wash that evil off, man. Told there's a rotten smell around Hillary. I'm not kidding. People say, folks, I've been told this by high-up folks. They say, listen, Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. I never said this because the media go crazy with it, but I've talked to people that are in protective details.
Yeah, sure you have.
I mean, they're scared of her, and they say, listen.
In your head.
She's a frickin' demon, and she stinks, and so does Obama. And I go, like what? Sulfur. They smell like hell.
Hell.
Democracy in a big, diverse country doesn't work if you constantly demonize each other. And I mean that literally, by the way. I was reading the other day, there's a guy on the radio who apparently Trump's on his show frequently. He said, me and Hillary are demons. Said we smell like sulfur. Ain't that something?
Like hell.
Ain't that something? We smell like demons. We smell like sulfur. Ain't that something? God, it's so great. Oh, and you know, Michelle totally rocked it yesterday. And everybody covered Michelle's speech, and almost every writer in the world, from Europe on to Asia, all these newspapers around the world, all the networks here, the newspapers here, from county newspapers to the biggest newspapers in the country, all covered Michelle Obama's speech yesterday, and said that was one of the most important speeches a speech that would go down in the annals, of history as one of the most important speeches ever given in a presidential election. And the only place that didn't cover that speech, the only place that avoided it like poison, was Fox News. The place you go when you want to avoid reality. Way to go, Fox. Oh my God! And so Michelle was giving this amazing speech about she doesn't even recognize, this presidential election as being anything that could happen in America, and just saying it's insufferable, it's intolerable. This has got to end. This has got to stop right now. She said, right now, it's got to be over. It's got to stop. And then Fox News ignored it, but they did cover Donald Trump's speech, which was verbatim from the protocols of the elders of Zion. Except they changed Jews to the Clintons. I mean, it was the freakiest damn thing. And today he was supposed to come with evidence to prove all these women wrong, all of them. And while he was speaking, 2 more women told their stories to mass media. And then Mike Pence is saying, "Don't worry, we'll produce evidence. We will one day soon. Like, we'll make a bundle, and in that bundle will be the evidence that all these women are liars, Donald Trump's tax returns, and the secret plan to defeat ISIS. It'll all be in this one bundle. One day we'll get it." Don in California.
Randy, good afternoon, darling. Hey, I just wanted to make a quick observation, if I could, and that is Hillary could put it all into proper context at the next debate if she were to walk out on the stage, and as she reaches out to shake the moron's hand, she smiles, turns, looks into the camera, and grabs him right in the junk. And then hangs on for just a second, and then turn around and walk back to her podium.
Yeah, I have these fantasies too. I have them too.
Take open her jacket and reveal a T-shirt that says, "Grab my P word, I dare you," and stand there with that for the rest of the debate.
You know what? My little. It's funny that you mentioned that because we were outside before the show, the 3 of us. Okay, Captain Leary, Howard, and myself, and I did do that to Howard. I grabbed him I said, and I said to Captain Leary, we've only been working together like 2 months, 3 months. I mean, we've gotten to know each other. I adore him. I think it's, kind of mutual anyway.
For the most part.
For the most part. But I said to him, you see what I just did to Howard? Now, Howard loves that. But what if we were, no, seriously, and what if we were at work and all of a sudden I just came in and I grabbed your junk like that? What hell would that be for you every day now at work, wondering what kind of a freak you work for, and all your hopes and dreams are tied up in the success of this endeavor, and I'm in charge of it, and now I'm grabbing you, and, and he got it, he understood how that could just screw your entire dream, your entire work life, your entire, everything, your self-esteem. It could just tear you apart. But my fantasy is a much simpler one. My fantasy is that at the next debate, it will be Las Vegas after all, and maybe the ambiance there, okay, will actually produce this result. So they get up on stage and he starts saying, she's a criminal, she's a, and Bill's a rapist, and all these women are liars, they're liars, and it's the Jews. And she just looks at him and lets him go, and then finds her spot and just says, "Hey, Donald, go fuck yourself."
I want that.
Well, I'd pay money to see that. That's for sure.
See, and that would be the fuck you heard around the world. I mean, nobody would blame her. Nobody, and you could get away with it one time.
And one other thing is the excuse he's using, like this thing we're coming out with the Miss Teen contest, where he says he could just walk in there because he owns the joint. Well, does that mean a business owner can just walk into a woman's bathroom to inspect what they're doing while the rationale is just blows my mind. I've got 3 daughters. The rationale just blows my mind, and I think you said it earlier too. It's like decent men are absolutely appalled.
Yes. And if you work for somebody, that's one thing. You work for them for the hours that they pay you to be there, and you do your very best for them. But it doesn't mean they own you. They don't own you. That's why they have to pay you.
And
this idea that you go to work for Donald Trump and he owns your body, he owns your mind, he owns your everything that you do. You and I just can't even imagine. Like the women that told the stories at the pageants. They're like, and I mean, they're like, those were their hopes and dreams. This is what they wanted to do, and the owner of their pageant, the absolute, who were they going to complain to?
Right. Right, and haven't we been trying to rid our country of this separatist and elitism, elitist mentality for 150 years or so? I mean, nobody's better than anybody else. I mean, haven't we been shooting for that? Sure, you can try to be the best person you can be, but that doesn't make you better than the next guy. It just means that you were more successful, and you don't win the gene pool or anything. I mean, there's just. And his sons, I don't even want to get started with the Bobbsey twins or the step-children or the children of the corn or whatever you want to call.
What does Bill Maher call him? Baron von Fuckface, I think he calls him.
And I got to tell you, it absolutely, I have a son as well, and my son is going to learn from me. So these kids are not only learned it from their dad, but they've learned this misogyny and they're teaching it to their kids too.
Yes.
And at some point in time, we got to break that string, and it's not only them. It's people like, the Hiltons and all these other people that are born into this privilege, like my, what doesn't stink and whatever I say is newsworthy. We got to break that cycle because it's just nauseating. And keep fighting the good fight, darling. I'm getting hotter. But you know what?
I know.
The Dodgers won last night, so I'm a happy guy.
Oh, man. Oh, not in my house. Not in my house.
Sorry. See you later, Randy.
Okay, have a good weekend. Thank you. All right, Ken in Westchester.
Hey.
Hey.
Seems like Alex Jones is the biggest nut in the history of politics.
What is it?
Alex Jones. Hold on, let me get your speaker.
Whenever you're ready, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, just thank you for bringing the show to a screeching halt. We really love that.
Friday.
You bastard. Put him on hold. I'll put you on hold till you get it together. Brother David.
Oh, sister. Well, here we go. The beginning of the end of He Whom I Refuse to Name's campaign absolutely happened 2 Mondays ago at that presidential infomercial, where we had on one side a virtual morph of, Joy Mangano and Jane Pauley and Angela Merkel and Martha Stewart and the Oprah, opposite an apparently snuff-dipping Crazy Eddie. Then there was the vice presidential infomercial, no comment. And then those two previous came back for this talk show in Town Hall Forum Guys, but it was 2 talk shows because she was on Bill Moyers by way of The View, and he was on Jerry Springer by way of The Addams Family, especially Lurch. So at this point, the only way for this insanity...
you missed it. You missed it, my friend. It's Cousin It. What? Look at the hairdos.
It's Cousin It. I take that back. That's what lives on his head. Of course. Call
and
the
Paul
ASPCA.
Ryan. And Paul Ryan is Eddie Munster.
And Ivanka's Maryland. So the only way this can really come full circle and we can be rid of this madness is for Chris Wallace to graciously step down next Tuesday and concede the moderator duties to Judge Judy. The minute you're so right about it being the rape campaign.
It is. It is.
And
This is the rape election.
It's totally the rape election.
You know how I know this? I wish I had thought of it. This is in the Washington Post today. The headline is, "It's come to this. 2016 is the rape election."
It's true.
No, I mean it's for real. This is in the Washington Post. It was written by Monica Hess. And this is her headline. I mean, everybody gets it. This is craziness. This is mass madness, you maniacs. And haven't I been warning you that when you conflate entertainment with the news, this is what you'll get. In my wildest dream, when I would explain it, bring all the clips from all the movies and all the things that showed you that the future was going to be this dystopian, disconnected, bizarre thing where reality TV stars were actually going to be able to get into the White House based on celebrity and blah, blah, blah. Everything from Bullworth to Network to...
Patty Chayefsky was a prophet, you bet.
He was.
Yep.
He absolutely was. But, even I didn't think it would be this fast.
No, it's the quickening.
But I guess it wasn't. I guess it wasn't that fast, though. Think about it. I mean, this has been going on since about 1996. The whole marketplace of news was deregulated, and
the FCC, you bet.
Yeah, and that's when the news divisions came under the auspices of the entertainment division, and the entertainment division said, "Now, news division, you have to make money just like we do."
This is why I'm looking for a new career.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah. And I have to, just a sidebar. You look in the dictionary for the definition of sulfur, and there's a picture of Alex Jones. So it's just unbelievable.
I thought if I leafed through Merriam-Webster and I got to meth, there would be Alex Jones. I thought that would be
Oxycontin's Rush, of course.
Well, thank you. Be good in Kansas.
Have a fabulous, fabulous weekend.
You too. Enjoy yourself. I love you.
Love always.
Mwah. Robin in Ithaca. Oh, my fault. Robin in Ithaca.
Andy, hi.
Hi.
I love you. Nice to see you. Yes, I mean, all those General Welsh emails that we were trying to... General Welsh,
You want to know why I don't go to the phones, people? Want to know why?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Anyway,
okay.
I was...
Let's do this again. Robin in Ithaca.
Hi.
Okay. All right, let's go to Mark in Los Angeles.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Hi, Mark.
Good. Look, obviously everything you've said all day has been fantastic as usual. You are the goddess. And buy a stinking podcast, people. Come on.
Yes, please. Buy a stinking podcast. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Really? Yeah. But so something that's been in my head, especially after Michelle Obama's amazing speech yesterday.
Yeah.
We said so many things about how this affects girls and women.
Yeah.
I have a son. I have a 6-year-old, and he's been watching this horror show along with me because we watch the news in our house.
Right.
And but he's in my house where we've talked about this, and he's understood and learned some things. So I think he's getting some good education out of this horror show.
Good.
But what about all the other kids? What about the kids that are the Trump supporters? I saw a woman today there was a tweet online. She was wearing a shirt that said, "Trump can grab my," and with the arrow pointing down.
Yeah, they're very proud. They're very proud.
They're proud of it.
But what they don't understand,
I'm banging my head.
Trump wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole, and he doesn't have an 11-foot pole. So they're not, you know what I mean? These women, there's a great article about these women for Trump and how they kneel down and they pray for Donald Trump. And it's the sickest conflation of evangelical Christianity, which is the Sermon on the Mount. I mean, it's do unto others. It's and they want this bullying bastard, this sexual abuser, this predator, this phony, this fraud, this demagogue to be their leader. It's I don't know what it is about their version of Christianity. It's kind of like the bastardization of a great religion, in their mind. That they think that, they need to be subservient to some man who's just going to, use and abuse them in order to be closer to God.
Yeah, isn't that always been religion? Isn't that kind of sort of always been it in a way?
No.
And Fox News makes it, part of it. There, but I'm a Jew from Queens, so I've
am I.
Come of my share from that, right? So we know a little bit of some of the same. So we know that in our houses, our mothers, were a bit different than in some of the other houses out there. But there's this thing with these women who are for Trump. That's why my mother would never have been for Trump, because it's a different thing with these
my mother hates him. My mother's like, I'm having nightmares about having our P words grabbed by an orange monster there, and he smells like Tic Tacs.
Oh my God!
I know. My mother is, you should meet my mother. Go on my Facebook page, the Randi Rhodes Show Facebook page, and scroll down. There's a video of her, and you get to know Loretta. By the way, that is what basically my book, which still hasn't found a home in a publisher's loving arms. That book is a love letter to Loretta. That's why the book is so funny, because she's so funny. And I just want to tell the literary agent who's supposed to be doing this thing for me, that stupid video that I put up of Loretta has over 10,000 views in less than, what, a week? People love her. And that's what that book is really about. I'm sort of an aside. You know?
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit RandiRhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 2000. That was the day that newspaper carriers for the San Jose Mercury News ended their walkout. 80% of the newspaper carriers were Vietnamese immigrants to the United States. Many were elderly or recent immigrants with families. The paper carriers often had to get up in the wee hours of the morning to complete their routes. They earned about $6 an hour. The carriers would also have money taken from their paychecks for the people on their routes who were delinquent in paying for their papers. San Jose is part of the tech industry growth of California's Silicon Valley. The economic disparity between the rich and the poor and working class in the area is stark. The newspaper deliverers were classified as independent contractors, meaning they legally had no protections and could not join a union. They knew that they had to work together if they wanted to improve their wages, their hours, and conditions. One carrier explained that the workers' concerns were, quote, thrown in the garbage by our supervisors. The carriers appointed John Hao-Do as their spokesperson. They demanded a 20% raise. When management would not listen to their demands, carriers on nearly 50% of the routes stopped delivering the newspapers. The walkout lasted 6 days. At the peak of the action, nearly 50,000 newspapers had gone undelivered. 557 carriers participated in the walkout. Finally, management agreed to a 12% raise. They also agreed to end the practice of garnishing wages for delinquent subscription fees. The paper also reinstated 4 workers who had been fired due to the walkout. The newspaper carriers had shown the power of collective action. Extra, extra, read all about it. Workers stand together and win better wages, hours, and conditions. Now that's a headline worth reporting. Like what you hear? Check out more at laborhistoryin2.com.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopRex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All things Randy at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
If a guy spent 70 years on this earth showing no regard for working people, there's no record that he's supported minimum wage or supported collective bargaining or invested in poor communities, and then suddenly he's going to be the champion of working people? Come on, man. Apparently in a speech yesterday he started talking about global elites, that there was a conspiracy of global elites. This is a guy who spent all his time hanging around trying to convince everybody he was a global elite. Talking about how great his buildings are, how luxurious and how rich he is, and flying around everywhere. And all he had time for was celebrities. And now suddenly he's acting like he's a populist out there. Man, I'm going to fight for working people. Come on, man.
Ain't that something?
Wages too high. We're not going to be able to compete against the world. I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is.
Wages are too high. And Obama gave him the benefit of the doubt. I've never heard him, say that, he wants to raise the minimum wage or fight for working people. No, he says the exact opposite, but Obama's too much of a gentleman. Just, come on, man. Ain't that something?
So in love with you.
All right, Dan in Ottawa.
Hello, Randy. How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Great. I just want to say that your witty political commentary is only surpassed by your beauty.
Oh, are you blind? Are you blind and deaf?
No, I'm not blind. In fact, all of us up here in Canada are just sort of hunkering down around our TVs, drinking our Tim Hortons coffee, and sort of watching on in horror. Oh yeah, Tim Hortons coffee. and we're all kind of. First of all, I want to say a big hi, a big hello to you and all the other Rhodes scholars there, and everybody in the YouTube chat room. Howdy, howdy. This is Slacker Dan.
Hi, babes.
And up here in Canada, we really see Trump as really the physical manifestation of the 7 deadly sins running for office.
Yeah.
And especially lust and avarice. I mean, it is so apparent on his face. How is it not driving away 100% of everybody instead of, let's say, 93%?
He left out gluttony. He left out gluttony. He's really quite something. Everything that he hates about other people is exactly what he hates about himself. And this is why he says things about fat people. Okay? Because he's rather disgustingly fat and paunchy and white and pasty, kind of like Canadians.
Hey. I know. I resemble that remark.
I hear you. But honest to God, I mean, the idea that, he calls people all these names and then, he says Hillary would be nothing without the media. Well, obviously, he's an entirely created media device. I mean, he's a tool. He's not even, like I said at the beginning, we probably know less about him than any other candidate who's ever run for president in the history of the United States. And the only thing we know for sure about him is that he's a predator.
Exactly.
So you're right. He is the manifestation of the movie Seven.
Yes. Yes. And he is the ultimate straw man, constantly making straw man attacks.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy is insane. Anyways, I know you don't have too much time, and I want to give other people a chance.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Please keep doing what you're doing.
Enjoy your coffee.
Thank you, my dear.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling. Irene in Colleen, Texas.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
Hey, how are you, honey?
Well, listen, this is the only thing I have to say.
Yeah.
How can women that's on Trump's side actually sit back and think that you can blame the woman for the man's indiscretions?
I don't know. It's an alternate.
They have rocks in their head, or what?
You live down there. You understand that.
I come from New York. My son was in the service, and when I retired, I came down here. But I'm from New York.
Okay.
So I just can't believe how they could just blame a woman for the man having the affair.
I don't know. I'm
going to save my Social Security check, and I'm buying a stinking podcast.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. I hate to see you do that, though. I give you a pass.
That's okay. You have a good day.
Thank you, honey. Mark in Northern Virginia.
Hi, Randy. It's great to hear you again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Long-time listener from the Air America days, but the real point is what you were talking about a while ago of the media being co-opted by entertainment happened a little bit before you were talking about that, and it's why I've hated Donald Trump ever since, is when he and Ivana got divorced, and his divorce leapt from the style section or the living section right to the front page of the New York Times, and then I knew it was in the tank.
Well, you could tell yourself it was a slow news day, is what it, I mean, I expected on the front cover of the New York Post, which is like the New York version of the world news, you know what I mean? Like, now it's a Breitbart, you know what I mean? That's the New York Post. But
absolutely, but at the time, the New York Times was the paper of record, and no such crap was on the front page until Donald, what a guy, Trump, And I'd really like to add very quickly that the reason, and I have not heard this addressed on any national media, is Trump keeps saying, why are all these women coming forward now? It's because last Sunday on the debate, he said, I didn't do that. And
That's
women
right.
said, oh, yes, you did.
Oh, that's exactly right. It infuriated the women that he had done it to. They were like, first of all, a lot of this stuff that he did, a lot of women didn't go to authorities because, nobody would have believed them, number one. And number two, they didn't think it was, very consequential. They just thought he was just another one of those guys that decides that, he could put his hands all over you. Now we actually have laws that say, no, if you work for somebody, they have to respect you as a thinking, breathing human that has their own person, that their rights begin and end where their nose begins and ends, and your rights begin where your nose begins, and nobody's allowed to infringe on your personal rights. But back then, there were, the whole debate in this country, if you remember, was if sexual harassment laws were needed, and why women wanted them, and who the hell did we think we were, and then we're going to make the workplace so untenable that the men won't be able to be themselves or do their jobs, and then all of a sudden they weren't allowed to watch porn on their desktops anymore, and they just started to loathe women, especially successful ones in the workplace. I lived through it.
Oh, absolutely.
I lived through it. I got to tell you, when I started in radio, even now to this day, except now I work for myself, but whenever I worked at a company, it was always 5 guys and a girl on the air. It just was. And the first time it wasn't like that was at Air America. It wasn't 5 guys and a girl. It was a lot of guys, but there were other girls. And, that's the only place I've ever worked where it wasn't 5 guys and a girl. And so if somebody would touch you or, would say stuff to you in the hallway or stare at you, too long and make you feel uncomfortable or comment on your boobs look really good in that sweater or so, what were you going to do? Who are you going to tell? What are you going to, where are you running? Who are you calling? But they don't even get that we're entitled to work. They don't even get that we're, entitled to be smart. They don't get that we're, the backbone of a lot of enterprise. They don't get it. They don't like it. They don't get it. It's too much change for them. All right, Gigi in Molokai, Hawaii.
Hi, Randy.
Hey.
This is a question that I, honest to God, don't have an answer to. So I'm hoping you do. I was in the doctor's office yesterday and chatting with a couple of women while we're waiting to get in, and one of them brought up politics, and she looked right at me, and she said, and I'm in my 60s, and so was she. She says, "Who are you going to vote for?" And I said, I'm a Hillary person.
Mm-hmm.
And she came right out and said, she's not voting. And I said, why? She proceeded to tell me she doesn't trust Hillary and can't bring herself to vote for Trump. But how would I convince someone?
It's very simple. It's very simple. You tell them one of them is going to be president. That is the real world. That is reality. That's what's going to happen. On November 8th, around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, somebody's going to be the president of the United States. And it's going to be one of these two. One is a fascist. One is not. One is a sexual predator. One is not. One actually has a working knowledge of the world and government and Wall Street and Main Street. The other one doesn't. One is a fraud, and one is, a person you might disagree with on this issue or that. But she's a real leader.
She is, and I think, in my opinion, she's a proven leader.
Yes,
but
I mean, obviously
this
she is.
lady's looking me straight in the eye, and
Why is Loretta's face staring at me there on that screen?
Because it's Friday.
Oh, that's Loretta. There she is. Well, listen, you just tell people that the reality is that somebody's going to be president, and it's going to be Donald J. Trump, or Hillary Clinton. Pick one.